Music legend Tony Christie told us that the very first moment he saw his wife in the middle of a crowd, he knew he would marry her. So this got us thinking about our own marriages. And Jane, you knew that you would marry Gary the night that you met him.
Well, I met him at the Brits and we got chatting and I just really liked his company. I mean, he didn't show any interest in me other than being chatty. But the very next day, I went out for dinner with one of my friends and I was single at the time and I sort of announced in the middle of this dinner, I went, oh, well, I've met the man I'm going to marry. So it was just like a feeling I had. Anyway, 8 months later, because he was actually dating somebody else at the time, and 8 months later, he finally rang me and asked me out for an evening, at which point I thought, right, here we go. But, yeah, it was just a sense of... And it was a very different sense that I'd had with other relationships.
Or something?
I was going to say...
He saw you on the telly holding something up.
Well, thank you, Denise, for that memory, yes. Well, the reason he remembered me, because he hadn't remembered me. So 8 months later, I was presenting a show called Thursday Night Live, which was like the London version of Central Weekend, you know. I think it was with Nicky Campbell. And there was a big sex show called Erotica in London, and we were doing a big thing about, you know, should erotica be allowed to come and exhibit in London? And I was holding up a sex aid, at which point Gary was at home flicking through the channels and went, I know her. She's the one for me. She's the one for me. And he called me the next day and asked me out for dinner.
And did you have that with Steve?
Well, kind of, yeah.
You mean you weren't holding a sex
I wasn't,
aid?
no. Mine's got more to do with biscuits. We had biscuits in common. So I was working for a big biscuit manufacturer and we had a big sales force and we had these like meetings where 300 of us got together and they brought this new hot shot in to sort of change the way we did things and increase our sales. And I just remember I was right at the back, you know, 28 years old, sort of sitting there going, oh, God, not another sales meeting. And this guy walked on the stage and it was just, I don't know if it was power, I don't know, the way he talked. It was all like using all this, you know, sales language, and I was like getting, oh, God. And honestly, it was flow charts and increased sales. Unique spreadsheets. Unique selling points. I was like, whoa, he's the one for me. I was weak at the knees. And I just remember, I was like that. I was like that. I was like, oh, my goodness, he's, like, amazing. And then I remember turning around to my mate, who was a sales rep with me, and I went, see that guy? She went, yeah. I said, I'm going to end up marrying him. And she looked at me, she went, shut up. I went, I'm going to marry that guy.
Funny. So both of you did the same thing?
Wow. Yeah, and it was instant. I just knew that was the man that I was going to marry.
Funny. Have you ever done that?
Eh? No. I met Lincoln at 6 o'clock in the morning in a nightclub called Jet Black, hammered. And I just remember thinking, well, there's no one else here, you will do.
Acorns, mighty oaks grow.
That is the best.
Did he ask you out?
Did he ask you out?
She can't remember.
I can't remember. It wasn't a sort of formal asking out. You know what I mean? Yeah, we woke up the next day and went, who are you? No, we didn't. Anyway, we're very happily married all these years later.
And what about Nick?
No, it wasn't like the first moment or anything, because obviously we were set up on a blind date by Donna, who works here, and neither of us wanted to go, and we only went because it was a double date. We didn't want to be rude to Donna and Dan. And but it was about a few hours later into the evening we'd met for drinks, gone for food, and then went dancing. And he was really busy, and he just went like this. He said, oh, I'll give me a hand. And he just said, oh, come on, I'll help you through. And literally we stopped. And it was like the whole... We hadn't actually made any physical contact to that point.
God, you're easy pleased, haven't you?
It'd been a really long time.
Have you progressed since then?
We're married now and everything. But no, it was like this electricity, and we both just looked at each other, and it was almost like we'd known each other before.
Were you wearing a nylon cardigan?
Yeah, my hair stood on end.
I miss those hormones, though. You know, those, like, hormones where you're like, oh,
That's a whole other show.
That is a whole other show.
But I did have it with, oh, it's such a shame, my first husband, because we met at school, and he was my first boyfriend, so I'd never had that kind of whole thing. And to me, he looked like a mixture of Tom Cruise and Mel Gibson. He had the hair, and I thought he was absolutely gorgeous. And he turned round, and literally, it was like something out of a teen movie. I just thought, and I fell in love with him right at that moment, right then. I mean, clearly, yeah. I mean, I loved him for a very, very long time. Clearly, it didn't last, but you know, that little moment, put it in a box, it was lovely. It can happen. I do agree. I do believe so.